Spend, do go online and donate. I think he and the team deserve for all the efforts that they're going through. Now, we spoke earlier, didn't we, about Bolton with Phil Parkinson, and Coventry and Blackpool play each other today. Two clubs who have been through their fair share of difficulties in recent times, haven't they? So their supporters know only too well how the fans of Bolton and Bury have been feeling, as Dickie Davis reports.
Owen Oyston became Blackpool owner way back in 1988, for the pricey sum of £1. Back then it was hoped he'd be the saviour, but things turned sour, especially when the club reached the Premier League in 2010.
Blackpool fans have actually been unhappy with the way the Oystons ran the football club right from the word go, but it was only when we got into the Premier League and realised that there was all this money that had come in and then it wasn't being reinvested in the club that really the lid came off.
As a football fan, you need to always have hope. I think that's the main thing. And at times it felt like there was no hope. It was pretty clear that the owners didn't have the interests of the football club at heart.
During his time in charge of the club, Owen Oyston had been jailed in 1990 for raping a 16-year-old girl. And his wife, son and daughter all had spells chairing the club. The Blackpool Supporters Trust took action to try and cut down his income.
We used to stand outside the main entrance before every single match in all competitions, and we did not miss one in 4 seasons. And we would stand there, we would leaflet visiting fans, to explain what we were doing. But then at 3 o'clock or at 7:45 or whenever the game kicked off, we packed up and went home. And we did that every single game for 4 seasons, and that was hugely painful, very difficult, but I'm very proud that we did it.
It's heartbreaking. I used to walk past Bloomfield Road sometimes and I'm thinking, I want to go back, but I thought I can't break the boy. I never broke it. I would have ended up never coming back, and that's just the worst feeling in the world.
Finally, earlier this year, the High Court ruled that the club must go into receivership after Oyston was found to have illegitimately stripped the club of assets, and he owed millions to another shareholder, Barry Belliacombe. Simon Sadler bought the club to the delight of the fans.
I had tears in my eyes, I admit. Honestly, I did at my age, I had tears in my eyes. And I'd come in through the doors and it's just like a dream come true for me.
Euphoria is the word, yeah. The feeling around the whole town, let alone the football club, is just on the up. Even
my wife at home said, your whole demeanour's got better. I mean, I've been a supporter now for 60 years, and I've never felt like this ever since I was a boy. I feel the future now for us is fantastic.
And that's also because the team is in the safe hands of Simon Grayson in his second spell at the club, with the side lying third at the table. Equally, Mark Robbins has done a fine job at Coventry, and they currently sit just 1 place below Black. Couple that with promotion from League Two and an incredible victory in the Checkatrade Trophy final, it's all led to an easing in tension between some fans and the owners. Sisu took over the club in 2007, but a long-running rain over the Ricoh Arena, and the club has had to move out twice. Once to share with Northampton, and this season they're playing at St Andrews.
It's been a long and turbulent marriage between us and Sisu, which at the moment has reached a little bit of an impasse. Things have been at least better on the pitch for the last 18 months. A little bit of money is being spent. Admittedly, we're selling players as well. People can't say that money is not being reinvested because it simply is. The business that's being done makes sense. We're recruiting young players from the lower leagues. Just all of the things we've seen other clubs doing successfully and we've never done. And it's just nice to see some foundations being laid that hopefully we'll be reaping the rewards from.
Because of the owners, some fans are only going to away games.
I think the ill feeling is still very strong, and some people will never go to St Andrews. I'm not one of those people, I haven't been yet, but I have no aversion to going. But yeah, it's still not particularly pleasant. This is the most success we've had since I've been supporting them, which is a good 20 years. Seen 2 relegations, and it just seems so criminal to not be able to watch your team when they're doing well, with all of this politics going on in the background. So in terms of supporting the club and following the team away from home, it's never been better.
But in future, how do fans stop the likes of Owen Oyston getting hold of their club?
The EFL are not fit for purpose as it stands, and independent regulatory body would be the answer. If we'll ever get that, who knows?
This fit and proper person test is a complete shambles, and I'm not the first or the last person to say that, but just some kind of test, some proof of funds, something, so that people aren't coming in there asset stripping and leaving the fans to pick up the dust, because it's so sad.
We need to get to grips with the fact that we are not going to put up with rogue owners who literally trash our community assets anymore. It's got to stop.
It's got to stop, and yet over the years, club after club, supporters after supporters have been at loggerheads with controversial owners, Tony, whether it's Portsmouth, Blackburn, Blackpool, Coventry, now of course with Bolton and Bury. I mean, the hope would be, I suppose, given what's happened to Bury and the response widely to what's happened there, that this is a watershed moment and that this will not happen again. But are you confident that's the case?
I'm not, George. I mean, whenever there's an international break, we have the show quite rightly, Soccer Saturday, we focus on League 1, League 2. How many times have we had this conversation about clubs being poorly run? It's just been ongoing for many, many years now. You know, there's quite a few solutions put forward by the guys in that clip there, you know, but I don't know what the answer is. You know, you can say proof of funds, but, you know, people can have the money and then they're still not the right person. You know, it's a bit worrying that, you know, I think the guy that bought Bury paid, what was it, £1, wasn't it, to buy Bury, and then he declares he don't like football. Oh, great. Oh, so you want someone running a football club who doesn't like football? You know, it's just ridiculous. The EFL have got to stand up and be counted. You know, they're the ones who are in charge. If people are in charge, then, you know, you're the ones who have got to take responsibility, and you've got to stop letting these people come into our beautiful game and not look after the clubs that they're intending to do. You know, it's when people take over a business, you know, all right, if a business goes wrong, you know, it's horrible, it's unfortunate, sometimes 50, 100 people it can affect. In football, there's thousands of fans, Jules, and that's what people don't understand, the knock-on effect. And not only that, the surrounding area, you know, all the shops around Bury, the chip shop that can't sell their chips anymore, there's a knock-on effect, it affects thousands of people. And that's what the EFL have got to understand. They need to stand up and be counted. Whatever it is that's got to happen, the EFL have got to lay some rules down here, because it's just getting ridiculous. We're all fed up, we're all football people, we're all fed up with it.
It's the heart of the community, and you fans, you love your club, and you could see the pain it was causing those Blackpool fans there having to stay away from it, and you can't just go and support somebody else. You love the club, so it's heart of the community, it's such great role models for people, but also our game, you know, Tony said they had a beautiful game, but you know, British football is unique. How the fan base is all the way down the division. Some of the
clubs,
size of those clubs, you don't have that in other countries, and the grounding as well that you can provide for young players who go on loan and go and learn and then go on and have top careers. People like Dele Alli started there, and now he's playing for Tottenham. So we have to protect this. We have to look after it for so many reasons. And what we have to do from this is learn, because it can't keep happening. We have to learn from it.
And the concern is as well that there's loads of clubs in these financial difficulties, you know, and they're in similar situations, and that's where you just feel you hope that it's not the tip of the iceberg and there's going to be more that are going to go under. And yeah, the big problem is the owners and the people that are coming in, and you know, they don't have the business or the financial background, and some of them don't have
Or the football knowledge,
or the football knowledge,
in terms of appointing the right manager.
Yeah.
I think I was just going to say that quite often the owners come in with the right intentions, but they surround themselves with the wrong people who don't understand the game. And it's because everyone loves football, and I think they know football until you get in the inner sanctum of it, the understanding how it works. And if you bought another business, you'd make sure you get specialists in that particular business to help you. But quite often in football, people buy football clubs, they get the wrong people around them, and all of a sudden realise it's a lot more costly than they first thought. So at the start, often the intentions are right, but you know, it can spiral out of control.
I mean, when the obvious person to speak to as an owner is the manager of the club, I just wonder, Philip Bolton, you know, how much conversation, how much communication did you have with the hierarchy about what was going on?
Yeah, I mean, Ken Anderson was the owner, obviously, when I took over. And no, we used to be in a reasonable amount of dialogue, yeah. You know, he doesn't live in the area, he lives away, but you know, he kept us informed of what was going on. Paul Aldridge was the chief executive, so if I didn't speak to Ken, I'd speak to Paul. So you need to understand what's going on, especially when it comes to the point of not paying wages. But equally, you want to try and focus on football as well, so you don't want to know too much of if there are problems behind the scenes until it really does start affecting you.
And we now know that, you know, there is going to be this independent review into not only the EFL and their handling, but to what happened at Bury. And Bolton may well come up in conversation, I'm sure. And having had a close hand witness what happens inside a football club when this is going on, what would your message be to the EFL, Phil?
Well, I think with the EFL, you know, for instance, Football Ventures, which has bought Bolton, have had a long period where they've had to show the proof of funding, they've had to submit the business plan, and it's been a very thorough process. There has been takeovers like the Bolton one and the Bury one when clubs were on the brink and they let people buy the club for £1 just to save the club. And those people probably didn't have the proper checks that they had the money to take the club forward. So the EFL have probably looked at those situations and thought, it's better than the club going out of business, we're going to let someone come in. If there's time, like the process took a lot of time with this recent takeover of Bolton, yeah, the checks are made and there's a lot of takeovers which are successful, but it is being as thorough as you possibly can.
Can we just have a proper independent inquiry?
No, this is going to be...
No, I mean a proper one, not an independent one where there's about 25 people from the EFL on the committee.
No, it's an independent QC, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's just do it properly. We're going to do it. Let's do it properly. Because, listen, we're not talking about football clubs, great football clubs that have come up from non-league. And we're talking about historic football clubs here. We're talking about Bolton. We're talking about Bury, former FA Cup winners, both of them. We're talking about Coventry, FA Cup winners. We're talking about Blackpool. They've won the FA Cup. These are proper football institutions. Let's have a proper independent inquiry, please. Let's not whitewash it. Let's just put plans in place and make sure this never happens again. It's getting beyond a joke, it really is.
Well said, Tony, well said.